Okay, I'm going to show you how to become a better pool player in just 5 minutes. First two things we're going to look at is your bridge hand and the grip. So, how you hold the cue and how the cue sits on your hand are two very important things. The thing that most pool players do wrong is they put their bridge hand wrong. So they either have it too flat, or they have it too high, or they have the cue angle in the wrong place. Okay, so the first thing we're going to look at is the bridge hand. Imagine there's 3 settings on the bridge hand. So imagine there's a top, a middle, and a bottom. This allows you to get to the cue ball, the top of the cue ball, the middle of the cue ball, and the bottom of the cue ball without, and this is the key thing, without raising the butt of the cue. What a lot of players do is they think to get some backspin, they have to raise the butt of the cue, or to get some topspin, they have to angle the top of the cue. The angle of the cue stays the same with every single shot. So whether you want to play stun, backspin, topspin, all of this gets manipulated by your bridge hand. So the top allows you to get to the top of the white, the middle allows you to get to the middle of the white, and the bottom allows you to get to the bottom of the white without changing that all-important angle of the butt of the cue. All that's happening is your bridge hand is manipulating the height of the cue rather than your backhand manipulating the angle of the cue. This is the most important thing with the bridge hand. If you want to get to the top of the white, you raise. If you want to get to the middle, you lower. And imagine when you want to raise, all I'm doing is squeezing the cloth. So to get higher on the white, so I want to play with topspin, squeeze the cloth, which lets the cue go higher. I want to get to the middle, loosen it off, get to the bottom, it comes even lower. This is the most important thing to remember with your bridge hand. The second thing with the bridge hand is we create this V shape. So you see the V shape that I'm creating with my thumb and my finger. What this V shape allows is the cue to stay sitting inside without it going side to side. If there's a U shape, of course the cue can then come off line and go side to side. You see a lot of amateur pool players and they've got their thumb away from their first finger that creates this U shape, so when the cue goes forward, of course it doesn't go through in a straight line. What we want to do is create that solid foundation with the hand, fingers a nice distance apart, and we get the thumb pressed against the first finger. So you can see it creates this perfect V. And that V obviously is where the cue sits. So we've now got the cue sitting in the V, the hand at the height we want it depending on where we want to strike the cue ball, and that is now the solid foundation of the grip. We go into the backhand. The backhand is how we hold the cue. Now this is something that's really, really important because if you're holding the cue wrong, there's a good chance you're not going to deliver the cue properly. So what we want to do, grip the cue, take the fingers around, and as you can see there, I've got a solid grip on the back of the cue with all 4 fingers touching the cue. Now, this is the important part. When the cue gets taken back, depending on how far back you're going to take it, you release the fingers. And then when it goes forward, they grip. So it's effectively open and close motion. And what this does is this allows the cue to come back on a straight line. If you don't release those fingers, then you can't take the cue back in a straight line. Because as you can see, if I don't take the fingers, I get trapped and I'm stuck. I can't take it back any further than this. So when it comes back, release those fingers, and that allows the cue to go through in a straight line. So we're trying to put something like this into practice. Remember the bridge hand, I'm going to play the stun shot on the red. So I'm going to be effectively, remember we talked about the top, middle and bottom. I'm going to be somewhere in the middle, which allows me to hit the cue ball in the middle. I've got this firm grip at the back. When I take the cue back, I release the fingers. When I push it through, I grip. Nice V shape with the thumb. And hopefully this allows me to push the cue through in a dead straight line with no side to side movement. And of course, the most important thing is you hit the cue ball exactly where you're trying to aim it, which in this case is in the middle. So bridge hand in the middle, which means the tip is going to strike the white ball in the middle. Backwards and forwards. And strike. Now, that is the perfect way to have your bridge hand and the perfect way to hold the cue at the back. And that will definitely make you a better pool player. If you practice that, get that right, get that solid base, get that grip right, you will definitely improve your game.